Hello there, wonderful perfume lovers. It's Jessica here from Sensoriam. And in our latest episode of Founder.I.Am, we get to meet the wonderful Lucy Bradshaw from the newest brand in our family, Tulita. So welcome, Lucy.
Oh, thank you so much, Jess. I'm really excited to be here chatting with you.
Now we can see behind you your wall of Tulita. And I think what everyone would very much see straight away is your attention to detail with this brand. It's everything from the packaging to the scents to the intention, which is so very exciting. Let's just start with, in maybe 2 or 3 sentences, what is Tulita?
Oh, beautiful. Well, Tulita actually means balanced in Sanskrit. So I think that that's the perfect place to start. Tulita is a 100% natural fragrance that balances chakra energy. And we do that by fusing the maximum amount of Ayurvedic botanicals into each of our chakra balancing fragrances and bottle it up with beautiful hand-carved activated crystals and affirmations. And do so with incredible intention to offer that chakra energy balancing to those that are wishing to take their perfume experience beyond the physical. Probably went more than 2 words, but that is an
2 sentences. But it's hard when there's so many layers to a particular scent, profile, brand. It's just so many things at the moment. So as you've said, it's not just about perfume, Tulita. It's moving beyond just a great scent. So tell us a little bit about your history, where you've come from to end up starting to create this brand.
Yeah, well, I've been really fortunate. I've had over 16 years experience in the beauty industry and been really fortunate to have incredible roles. I've worked all around the world in, product development in Paris, working for some incredible fragrance brands, skincare brands, makeup brands, and have been back in Australia for about 10 years and have held some really senior management experience roles. Again, with some of the top brands in the industry. But it's really like my yogi work that I think is the most influential to Tulita. So I'm a yoga and meditation teacher, and I'm really passionate about really committing and dedicating my yoga teaching to chakra balancing. And I've really seen firsthand how my students can really shift energetically in a really profound way in a short space of time. A yoga class is 60 minutes, but with intention and the purpose behind it, chakra energies are really, really sensitive and can be shifted quite quickly. So it's really, Tulita is the fusion of that 16 years of beauty industry experience.
Yeah.
And that yogi work. And I think that that's what makes Tulita really unique and very, very special, is it's that fusion of those experiences coming together in a way that has been quite effortless for me. Yeah, it's really exciting. It's really exciting how those 2 things have come together.
Definitely. And it's very much where, at least for us within natural perfume, we're seeing the industry move towards. Natural obviously it's where it all started. Everything was natural in scent to begin with. And then it moved into the synthetics, but now this real return to the botanicals, to nature. But looking beyond just the smell of it, actually almost going back to those ancient origins of like, what was it used for energetically? Now, I know you mentioned the chakra systems or chakra. There's different ways of pronouncing it, of course. For someone who might be new, especially within perfume, and they love perfume, but they've not really heard of that, could you describe that for us a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would just preface that even if you know nothing about the chakras, Tulita is, it integrates effortlessly regardless, but really the essence of it is around the chakra energy system. So the chakras are 7 main energy systems throughout the body, and to reach our sort of like highest vibration, or like a free flow state, or this sort of like state where we feel like everything is in effortless ease, means that our chakras are in balance, and it allows like the energy to move freely throughout the body to, evolve upward. And the realities are that daily life brings the blockages to each of our chakras. So we do need to spend that moments of time to unblock or to rebalance the chakra energy system. So that's essentially what Tulita works to create and to do. And it's almost that fusion of like wellness fragrance that you were mentioning is like functional fragrance, or fragrances that do more than just that beautiful physical gesture of smelling beautiful. That's what Tulita really offers. That's really, really unique and quite exciting.
And so when you decided to then create a fragrance brand, but that fused into your yoga traditions and things, where do you go to learn about what scent helps with what mood or what energy or unblocking? How did you sort of find that out?
Few different sources. There's actually an enormous amount of literature and text, because we're talking about like the Vedic wisdom that is 1,000 years old. It's one of the most ancient lineages, so there's an abundance of information and knowledge. And I have a beautiful community of Ayurvedic practitioners and experts around me that have also been really wonderful sounding boards. And there is really, really clear, distinct definitions around which crystals are most powerful for each chakra, which botanicals are most powerful, which affirmations, and then it goes beyond into, diet and yoga practices. But Tulita really fuses those first three of crystal, botanical, and affirmation together in one beautiful, powerful bottle.
Amazing. And so with your experience over those 14 years in the traditional fragrance area, can you describe to us how is a scent put together in that particular world? What did you see and get a chance to be a part of in that particular world?
Yeah, well, I think it's really quite a structured process, I would say. Like there's a lot of research that's done around, what's the future trends that are happening within fragrance, and then how to start to, construct based on, top, middle, base, and creating sort of like, memory-based fragrances and things that are quite, have a lot of research and definitions behind them. So I'd say it's quite a structured, defined process. There's still incredible art form. I think like perfumery is one of those like magical states that, there is no perfect recipe to it. There is that still the essence of the artistry behind it. So there's always, things can always turn and shift a little bit if, the perfumer sends the fragrance into an incredibly exciting direction. But for the most part, it's relatively structured in the traditional sense. And I'm speaking about, commercial, traditional fragrances.
Yes, of course. Yeah. And it is very much an art form. I often, when people come into our little pop-up store we have at the moment, or I do an online consult with people, helping them to find their scent, I say that perfumers are artists and their paintbrushes are scent.
Yes.
So
beautiful analogy, and so accurate too.
Yeah. And the magic is the alchemy in terms of each of the scents, the top, middle, base, and how do they play together? How do you keep them in balance? So in terms of that process, you go and you find out what particular scents and crystals and intentions are great for each of the energy centers. Now what do you do? How do you then go and create a scent?
So it's been a really unique, I think, process of creating, developing Tulita. And for those that worked on the project, our perfumer or our designers or our Ayurvedic sort of experts, very inspiring to be able to create something around the chakras. And we really started firstly on the energetics. What do we want the perfume to make us feel? What do we want it to feel in our body? What do we want it to feel in our mind? And, that was a really beautiful starting point. Was it something that was really grounding? Was it something that was really stabilizing? Was it really joyful and light and bright? So first and foremost, it really started in those energetics. And I think that that's a really powerful starting point, because we know how powerful scent is for triggering the mind of emotions and memories and feelings and mood. So starting in that energetic space was really, really important. Then secondly, it became about honoring that really profound and enduring wisdom of Ayurveda. So how much of those beautiful, potent botanicals could we infuse into the fragrance based on which chakra we were working to balance? And we're really fortunate that a lot of these botanicals are incredibly beautiful botanicals to work with in perfumery. So it felt like a very easeful way to work, and one that was quite inspiring for the perfumer as well. And then thirdly is we really wanted to push the boundaries in terms of like an incredibly luxurious and sophisticated scent. And my vision was that, and it sounds odd between us because we're natural perfumers and love like that space, but to create a natural perfume that didn't smell like a natural perfume, in the sense of I wanted to create one that, you know, a traditional fragrance consumer would smell it and not feel like it was compromised in any way in layers or complexity or sophistication, and then we're beautifully surprised that, oh my gosh, this is also natural. And that was the big goal of how we could really keep on pushing the boundaries of more complexity, more sophistication, and more longevity in the fragrance as well. So it was really those three things that we were really toggling between: the energetics, the botanicals, and the uniqueness and complexity that we could really place into the fragrance.
And it definitely, all three of them have that I would call it, they're quite refined. Compared to an essential oil blend, which, as we know, is beautiful and can be very much helping ourselves in terms of mood and things like that. But there is a difference with a perfume in what we're traditionally used to and where the palette sort of sits at the moment as well. And yeah, the Tulita fragrances all have that beautiful refinement that you've worked on there, where we can experience each of the layers that are in there. So then tell us about, you've started with the 3 of the chakras to begin with.
Yes.
Do you want to take us through? And I've got actually some little of the 2 mils, and I'm going to smell at the same time as you tell us about that particular one.
Like we're experiencing together. Absolutely. So I'll show you first beautiful agati. So agati is our root chakra balancing fragrance. So each of our Tulita fragrances have a beautiful hand-carved and activated crystal. So agati has the red tiger's eye here. And the energy behind agati is that really grounding, stabilizing, you know, it's that perfect fragrance for when we're feeling maybe a little untethered, maybe a little anxious, a little jittery, and it just really brings us back, connects us back, grounds us back. I really love thinking of this as that, you know, beautiful calming embrace. And the fragrance itself is a really earthy, woody, rich and sophisticated fragrance. So it features Australian sandalwood as one of the hero Ayurvedic botanicals in it, but also lots of other beautiful tones of cedarwood throughout it. And then it's got the warmth of cardamom. It's got a little bit of black pepper, and then it's got some freshness of basil in the top there.
Yep.
That like little green twist that comes through, bit of warmth of the ginger there as well, and then a hint of smoky vanilla as well. So really rich, really earthy, really grounding and sophisticated. So that's agati.
Yeah. And I've found that in a way a little bit more of a masculine scent, and that it's often the men are drawn to that particular one. I've been finding. So
yes, yeah. It's I mean, all of Tulita's genderless, but for sure that one has more of that, like really it has that strength behind it that yeah, my husband loves wearing this one as well. Yes.
Someone came in today and she got agati for her husband.
Yes. Merry Christmas.
Yes, that's exactly right. Wonderful. I love that one. And particularly the tiger's eye crystal on that one is just this.
The way the
You
light.
look at it, I know, under different light and different ways. It's
Oh,
watching you almost.
it is. It's such a beautiful crystal, and like obviously a crystal, like every single one is unique. So I get to experience, like every time I'm sort of, you know, seeing one go out the door, I'm like, oh, that's such a beautiful crystal. Oh, that one's they're really stunning, and the way they catch the light is they're really, really special crystals.
Yeah. And just before we go on to the next one, what I also love about Tulita is the layers that you have, as I was saying before. And I know that they are refillable as well.
Yes.
So in terms of within naturals, it's never just that the scent is made from natural ingredients. All of the brands like yourself are then also going the next step as well in terms of, okay, let's just buy one beautiful one with this gorgeous crystal and then we can refill it each time we need it, right?
Exactly. It's all about, you know, that future state of like reduce, reuse, and the up design as well. So yes, they all have the beautiful just twist top. So they just refill.
Yeah.
You can unscrew those there, and we have beautiful refills with little recycled aluminium funnels, and exactly like you say, you know, like you have that beautiful gesture, but then really easy to refill afterwards.
So good.
Yeah.
Okay. What's our next one?
Next is Vicasa. So Vicasa is our heart chakra balancing fragrance, and that has a beautiful rose quartz crystal, which again, stunning crystal and probably one of the better known crystals.
Yeah.
And the energy around Vicasa is really quite uplifting. It's joyful. It is that love and connection and empathy, and really feeling the connection firstly to ourselves, love for ourselves, hence that joy piece, before connecting love and empathy and compassion for others. So it's a really beautiful one. It's a really sheer, lightweight fragrance, really perfect for summer. And the hero ingredient in Vicasa is the rose. But I think really the big intention behind Vicasa was to create an incredibly modern rose. So we've really layered it with beautiful strength of woody notes in the base. So there's beautiful cypress and cedar wood that gives it that beautiful strength. And then that joyful, light citrusy top notes of bergamot and lemon that really, really twist throughout. So it's a really nice, lightweight, and like really sparkling, joyful almost type fragrance. So that's
gorgeous. And I did notice in the ingredients, it's called like upcycled rose or something. How does that work? Tell us a little bit about that.
So that is it's one of the big areas that we're really passionate about is, you know, working in naturals, of really honoring the integrity of the botanicals that we're working with. So upcycled rose or upcycled rose water is basically reusing through the distillation of the rose petals, we reuse the water that has been used to distill. So you've got sort of like the rose absolute that will go on to be used in the fragrance, but we also use the upcycled water that comes back in, and it's a really beautiful expression. It has a really different expression. It's a little bit lighter, it's a little bit more citrusy. So it's using that same ingredient and how they end up being sort of reinterpreted from the richness of the olfactive profile. So yeah, it's one of the areas that we love to embrace as much as possible when we're selecting ingredients.
So fun. I love it.
Yes.
Beautiful. Yes. And we rounded off with
Vicasa. No, sorry, Divya. This is Divya. So Divya is our crown chakra balancing fragrance, and that one has a beautiful clear quartz crystal. And the crown chakra, you know, if we think about chakra energy, it's that evolution of energy upward. And so crown is really the uppermost energy center. So it's really, you know, seeing the divine, connecting to that beautiful serenity, seeing the beauty in all things, connecting us to our greatest purpose. You know, there's this there's something that really evolves beyond, you know, physical. The base chakras start quite as physical gestures of needing that comfort and stability. As we move upward, it becomes more about connecting us to things that are greater than beyond us. And so Divya is a beautiful ambery jasmine fragrance. It has twists of frankincense, and it has that Australian sandalwood in there as well that really rounds it out and adds that, you know, again, a bit of a showstopper fragrance. This is the one that, you know, probably people sort of have the most immediate reaction to, because it's very, very unique and beautiful, but it's that frankincense and the jasmine and the amber and the sandalwood that really fuse beautifully together.
They're just gorgeous. Yeah.
Yes.
It's always hard for me to choose between them. Luckily, I don't have to. I get to choose any of them. I have people always say, I want your job. Yes, okay. Now, I know also not only is there the upcycled rose water and it's refillable, but tell us also about these amazing crystal lids and the extra layer that happens there as well.
So, I mean, this is one of the exciting things about Tulita is that we're a big believer around the Blue Beauty movement. And Blue Beauty, you know, I mean, we can talk about that in a moment, but one of the things that it really sort of evokes and challenges us as beauty companies is how to reuse, how to up design products so that there's reduced wastage. You know, the harsh reality is that the beauty industry is one of the largest contributors to plastics in landfill and in our oceans. So how we can all play our part to reduce that impact. So, you know, firstly, you know, really wanted to ensure that Tulita had no plastic and that we're a certified plastic negative brand, which is really exciting. So everything is aluminium and recycled, but basically we've also fused the up design to create a beautiful gua sha handle. So this is taking the cap of your Tulita fragrance and basically twisting it on. So if I just untwist here, you can see that that is your Tulita crystal cap, and it just really beautifully goes back on. And we all know the beautiful, powerful benefits of gua sha massage for lymphatic drainage, as well as really fusing that activated energy into a mindfulness gesture that can be really powerful for, you know, reducing headaches and fatigue, but a beautiful beauty tool as well. You know, like it's really become quite mainstream to use it in your beauty routine to really reawaken, stimulate the senses, stimulate the blood flow, and cleanse the face of that sort of buildup of toxins. That has a really powerful sculpting and firming effect when used. So when you buy the gua sha handle, there's beautiful instructions and little diagrams there. So that's been really exciting. You know, that maybe wouldn't have been born if we weren't challenged by, you know, those Blue Beauty criteria that really, you know, just to think a little bit more creatively, and became a really inspiring way of working to go on to create the gua sha handle. So yeah, it's beautiful, and people have just been sharing a lot that they just love it just sitting on their you know, workspace, and they're really able to enhance and integrate that activated crystal energy into you know, their work as well, which is really, really beautiful.
That's right. It's like this beautiful form and function at the same time with that sort of design. So you did mention Blue Beauty, and not many people have heard of it. We've heard of Green Beauty, obviously, and that's where a lot of natural started in terms of getting, you know, the ingredients to begin with to be more natural and less synthetic, and really becoming more conscious of that. Now we're seeing this evolution towards Blue Beauty. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it's really exciting. So Blue Beauty is really the next frontier beyond clean and green. And clean and green beauty, you know, they're incredible practices that were the very beginnings of the beauty industry starting to be more conscious about what the ingredients and what the impact was. And I think one of the challenges that we're now seeing sort of like quite advanced into clean and green beauty is that it's very sort of unregulated, it's undefined. The definition of it really is incredibly subjective. So like what you would describe green beauty might be different to me, to someone else. And so that has sort of opened up this space that we're now seeing, which is around this sort of greenwashing, because it's just, you know, people are, you know, really interpreting it in completely different ways. So Blue Beauty is going above and beyond. So it was founded by Jeannie Janot. She's an American founder of Blue Beauty in the US, and she's really clearly defined the agenda of what Blue Beauty is. So very, very clear agendas that we can really adhere to. And really what makes it quite exciting, I think, is that it's quite rigorous. It's really pushing us to go above and beyond. So it's about, you know, products and brands being natural, non-genetically modified, incorporating organic ingredients, biodegradable formulations, which is something that we need to really be thinking about, because these traditional fragrances that last and last and last on our skin, they're lasting because they're not breaking down. And so when they flush into our waterways, they're not breaking down, and that's impacting on fish life, plant life, etc. So really starting to think about the biodegradability of packaging, but also formulations. So that's really exciting. Plastic neutral, which is really, really important to Jeannie Janot as well. And then she goes further, and it starts to be about working closely with suppliers, growers, farmers, communities, giving back. You know, how companies and corporations have a responsibility to give back. And then the last few are around carbon neutral and most likely B Corp certified. So quite a rigorous list of criteria. And Tulita, we've sort of gone through and really ensured that we've encompassed and harnessed all of them. So we're working on we meet all of them. We're just working on our B Corp certification as we speak, and our carbon neutral certification as we speak. So they will be the last two that we get to tick off. And not many companies would meet, you know, 12 of the 12, you know, 10 of the 12 is a really great starting point. So that's Blue Beauty. Really thinking about land and oceans and waterways.
Amazing. It is very much the next frontier and the new generation of business brands. And I love when people come in and at the store or online, and they're always amazed with the fragrances and how incredible they are. But then when I also say, well, this particular brand is 1% for the planet as well, and this particular brand does the Blue Beauty and the plastic, there's like, then they're like, whoa, this is moving way beyond just an incredible perfume sitting on my dresser. I'm interested in terms of, because it's a kind of a new idea, the plastic negative. How does that work?
Yes, so plastic neutral is probably the more common term. It's just that Tulita, we've doubled our commitment, so hence plastic negative. So plastic neutral is really starting to, I guess it's a little bit like in carbon neutrality, where we've become very well sort of educated on the carbon footprint that certain brands and companies play in their sort of like supply chain and their output, and how they're able to offset it through carbon trading. So plastic neutral is a similar concept. It really works to understand exactly how many kilograms a year would the final product have in terms of plastic usage or impact within all of their packaging, and then how that's offsetted. So there's an incredible company in Australia called Waste Revolution, and they do amazing work of basically working to remove unrecycled plastic out of landfill. So we're particularly talking around our soft plastics that haven't been correctly recycled. And the sad reality is 80% of plastic is not recycled. And that can be quite a shocking statistic, because often you put it in the recycling bin, but because there's different layers of different types of plastic, it doesn't end up getting recycled. So Waste Revolution works to remove that unrecycled plastic out of landfill.
Amazing.
And it's then repurposed into fireproof fence posts for farming communities around Australia. So it's pretty amazing how it has this beautiful full circle commitment. And we're starting to see more and more of it. Like, I think plastic neutrality will become, you know, as much talked about as carbon neutrality in the future, which I think is fantastic. What's really hard is that plastic's cheap. It's the cheapest to produce and manufacture today. So it's quite confronting, I think, for a lot of companies and brands about how they can make things in a more sustainable and non-plastic way. So it's really exciting that we've been able to remove so much plastic. The one bits of plastic that we do have is the little sort of tube that goes into the fragrance. It's not something that we've yet been able to find a non-plastic alternative as a small startup, but my hope for the future is that with scale, that's what we'll be able to remove as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I see with the plastic area, I've said it for a while now, it's such an opportunity for entrepreneurs because we all want to find ways of recycling it rather than putting it straight into our bins.
Yes.
And when the red bin went away at Coles, because I used to take mine to the red bin at Coles, and then all of a sudden it's not there anymore, you're like, I can't put this into my normal bin anymore. I literally physically...
That feels wrong.
And I mean, I try and get as little plastic as possible anyway, but then lo and behold, I've seen two now, and I use one of them, the Recycle Smart business, that sure, I have to pay. I've always said I'm happy to pay for them to come and pick up all my soft plastics. They now do the electronics. They do all sorts of pickups now. It's a big area of opportunity and innovation for the little tubes, all of those elements, so that businesses like yourselves can keep being able to produce what they want to produce, but do it a whole lot smarter.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, it's really at the beginning phases, because a lot of the conversations we were having with our manufacturing team is they're like, no, like, this has never been done. Like, what you're asking doesn't exist. And it's like, we need to keep on finding ways, because it is the future. And like you were sharing, like, I think that consumers are part of the process. You know, every time that they purchase a brand that is going above and beyond, it's deepening the commitment that this is the future, and this is what, you know, brands are going to be expected to do in the very, very near future. So yes, I think manufacturing is going to have a long way to catch up, but it's starting to shift and it's starting to move, which is great.
Yeah, with the demand, basically. So it's great. So, I mean, we know natural is so amazing in terms of the ingredients and all of those things, but you've worked on the other side. So tell us, what are the commercial fragrances usually made from? Because a lot of people who are sort of step into natural at the beginning, they're like, what do you mean? Isn't all perfume made out of?
It's like that, like, dun, dun, dun. Well, yeah, I mean, the vast majority of traditional fragrances are made from synthetics, and they are basically lab made compounds that mimic natural ingredients, but they mimic them in a way that is scalable and far more economically efficient to be able to be manufactured with, basically. That, as well as they're able to twist and evolve. So, you know, like the library of synthetic ingredients is, you know, in the absolute vast thousands, because there've been so many derivatives. But the reality is that many traditional fragrances may not contain any natural botanicals whatsoever. It may be entirely synthetic, entirely, you know, lab-made compounds, which, you know, I think for me makes me a little sad, because, you know, you were sharing that that's not the beginning and the founding origins of perfumery. And I think, just, you know, if we think about society, you know, we're all seeking this greater connection. You know, I think we're in this deep state of needing deeper connection. And I think that connection, and this is probably through my Vedic practices and my yogi work, is, connection with ourselves and with each other starts with a connection to nature. That is the founding principles of the Vedas, is we are nature and we must be connected to nature. And that traditional notion of fragrance is detaching us away from nature, when there's just the most beautiful opportunity to connect through perfumery, when it's done really ethically and sustainably. So it's hard to sort of grapple when you realize, there might not be a single ingredient in there that's natural. There might be, but most likely not, unfortunately.
Yeah. And as you and I both know, the research is now showing us that not only is the disconnect there in terms of from the actual botanical in the first place, but the research is showing us the hormone disruption for ourselves or in our own bodies, not just from perfume, but fragrance in all of our products that is made from. And as you've said before, when it moves down into the waterway and interrupts the normal hormones and all of those sorts of things within our marine life, then that's what we're really wanting to stop and avoid along that journey.
And I think that's, like, we're also really just starting to become a lot more educated on, those endocrine disruptors or hormone disruptors. That's the phthalate. And that phthalate is the ingredient that makes your fragrance last and last and last. And the terrifying studies that are starting to emerge on, what those phthalates are doing to, fetuses, of unborn babies, it gets a little bit scary, and yet it's still relatively under the radar, which is, pretty amazing to me, that it's, it's not better known or more widely known. So yes, natural, at least what you're getting. And I think that, and we've spoken about this in the past, is that, one of the surprising areas around fragrance is that it's one of the only categories in all of health and beauty that's not required to disclose the entire ingredient list. You're only required to disclose a certain amount of allergens. If they're listed as allergens, you have to list them, but you're not required to actually say what's in your perfume bottle. And so these things around like phthalates and hormone disruptors are being sort of like masked under the surface because you don't see them or you don't hear about them. So I think that that's going to be a shift that potentially happens with time as, consumers become a little bit more demanding about, like, no, I'd like to, just like I know exactly what's in my skincare, I'd like to know what's in my perfume bottle. And it's one of the things I'm really proud of. In Tulita, we list everything, but we don't just list it all. We also source and acknowledge the country of origin of where the botanical came from. And I think that's really important. We need to know where things come from. And it's about transparency, but it's also about honoring and acknowledging those communities that have grown this beautiful botanical that you're now getting to enjoy and experience in the bottle. And by being able to support those communities that have grown those incredible botanicals, that is adding to biodiversity for that particular geographical ecosystem. It's providing sustainable income for those communities, which I think we don't realize when we think, oh, okay, lab-made ingredients, that doesn't actually benefit some of these communities that grow ingredients that maybe need the support more than most. So I get very passionate about the reasons why natural is so powerful for so many reasons. But
definitely all those reasons. In regards to nature, tell us, where is one of your favorite places in nature?
Oh, I'm from Tassie, so I'm very blessed, to be able to go back to my home state and being in, I think there's something incredibly grounding about being in some of the rainforests that we have in Tassie. Are just incredible to be connected to earth, to, under trees, to hear water. That is, think profound changes happen in a very short space of time when we just spend a few moments in deep nature, and we just don't do it enough. And I'm speaking to myself in this as well, because every time I'm there, I'm like, whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
that just happened, that just shifted, that just changed. And that's nature, you know, like the most beautiful, abundant thing that we have access to, most of us, with a little bit of effort. We all just need more time in nature.
For sure. I started my day this morning with a walk on the beach and a jump in the ocean, and it
Oh,
sets my day up really, really well when I get to do that.
beautiful.
It really is. Now tell us, there is quite a difference between working in the industry and then becoming an entrepreneur with a startup.
Yes. Yes.
So how has that transition been for you?
I think this might sound like not, this might sound wrong, but it has been easeful in the sense of this experience of like the yogi work and the understanding in the beauty industry. It's felt like I've never been conflicted about like what we needed to do. Like the vision has been very, very clear from day one. Like this is what it needs to be. And it's going to be tricky sometimes. There's been like challenges, like, you know, no one's ever put a handcuff crystal on a bottle the size of this. No one's ever done all of the crazy things we've done of like removing all of the plastic. And, you know, even with my perfumery team, they're like, oh, maybe just a little bit of like synthetics might just make it even better. I'm like, no,
Oh, yes. Yeah.
no, we like, there's a vision, we're sticking with this. So in that sense, it has been easeful, because I think when you're so connected to what you're trying to achieve, you can be a little bit like just eyes on the prize, and the rest is like noise and challenges and obstacles to get there.
Yeah.
But there's been days where, like, of course you care so much, because this is like, you have so much intention about what you're wanting to create. And like with that comes a lot of emotional turmoil through it as well. So there certainly been days when I've been told like, there's no way we can do this. And I'm like, no, there just has to be a way. So lots of ups and downs. But I would say overall, like, it's never, the vision has unwavered. The vision of what we've achieved is exactly what the original vision was. And that I'm super proud of, you know, because I think that that's what, like, you know, I really think the world deserves, you know, mindfulness and wellness and this beautiful intention, and to be, you know, the best energetic version of themselves. And that can be hard to, you know, take time to do yoga, to meditate. It might not be accessible to everyone, but fragrance is accessible to everyone. So creating a really beautiful daily ritual, a daily habit that really grounds and connects you back to self is just something that really is available to everyone.
I love that. Yeah. And I know you have children, correct?
Yes, two little ones, a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old.
So not only have you stepped into the startup entrepreneur world, but you've also got small children. What do they love about Tulita, or what you've done, or, you know, smell? What do they like to
Oh, Darcy, 2-year-old Darcy's probably a little bit too young, but I've just been having so many giggles because my daughter's started drawing a lot of crystals at kinder. So she comes home with like, Mummy, it's a crystal. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got like a true like crystal aficionado in my 4-year-old. It's amazing. She knows the difference between so many of the crystals just by being like around them, which is pretty amazing. And the other day she was crushing up petals in the garden. She's like, Mummy, I'm making perfume too. Like, oh, heart explode. Pretty amazing. Yeah.
They're just as much part of the journey in the observation and the watching of you.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that
they've been like the greatest source of inspiration behind Tulita, you know, like I think, you know, wanting to do better, to create better, to, you know, push the boundaries a little bit more, because, you know, what they're going to experience in the world matters. And, you know, we're in the driving seat of that course change. And so they have been incredibly inspirational and very, very fundamental to the creation process. And it's probably them that I've thought of in those times of like, no, we can't do this or we can't do that. I'm like, no, like if it was easy, we'd all be doing it already. But
Yep.
some of us just need to forge the pathway. And yeah, no, they're definitely, I think we all just have this huge, immense responsibility for the planet and for the people in it. You know, it's really important part of the Tulita process.
Yes. And in terms of that Tulita process, what does the future look like for you? What would you like to see?
It's really exciting. So we've only really just launched, which is amazing, and we've been just immensely overwhelmed with the feedback. I think it's an incredibly unique product, and I think the world is ready for Toledo. I was like, oh, is it a bit too woo-woo? I'm not sure how it's going to be received. And like people are like, yes, bring me chakra energy.
Yeah.
Fragrance. So we're starting to work on the next iterations. We're not sure which ones yet. We're sort of toying with a few different ones, but obviously there's 7 chakras, and today we have 3 of them. So obviously there's going to be more exciting chakras to come, which is really exciting. So they will hopefully be coming through in the next year or so. Hopefully before Christmas next year is my hope.
Oh, that's a lot of work. 4 new scents.
Oh, we won't do 4 all at once, I don't think.
Good.
Yes. Yeah, I'll be like aged.
Yeah, that's right. You'll be
Significantly.
washing all the time.
Washing all day long.
It is such a pleasure to have Tulita a part of the Sensorium family, and really seeing how natural is moving into its next evolution with it. We see incredible brands who are out there, and they've been in the industry for 10 years now, and really were at that pioneer level for naturals that we're looking at building on and adding to. Because what I really do see within naturals from people who come into the store or online, we need the variety. That everyone has different preferences for scent. They have different experiences or moods or things that they want to evoke. And so each time we find and add to our family, it's so that there is that opportunity for more people to find the natural that suits them. So it's so amazing to be able to tell the story of Tulita and have more people discover it through Sensoriam. So thank you so much, Lucy, for your dedication and your sticking to that vision through all of the challenges that come up along that particular journey. The world is definitely ready for Tulita and will continue to be. And we can see, as soon as we saw the brand, smelt it, saw the packaging, we were like, you've just created something next level here. And we know that it will be really a global sensation. We just know. And it's a pleasure to be a part of that particular journey as well.
Oh, thank you so much, Jess. And I'm really honored to, be at Sensorium. I think like what you're doing of really curating and sense checking natural fragrances and the best of natural in the market. And what I love is that, it isn't an easy space to navigate. Some brands, that aren't natural are perceived natural, whereas what you're doing is really, auditing and checking and ensuring that every single brand that is in the Sensorium collection is really thoroughly vetted by yourselves. And I think it's an incredible, it's what's needed in Australia to help guide and to help educate people that are coming into natural for the first time, because as you say, like more and more people are turning back to that natural space. So I'm just incredibly honored to be at Sensorium as well.
Amazing. And so everyone who is watching this particular episode, you know where you can find Tulita is obviously on Sensorium, whether that's going straight into the full size, getting the discovery kit and adding your little gua sha to it as well. And I know on the Tulita website, there is all sorts of information on the journey there and how to make it last longer and where all the ingredients are from, which is just as much a part of each of the scents as well. So thank you so much, Lucy, and we look forward to meeting these new scents when they're ready.
Oh, so good. Thank you so much, Jess. Love chatting to you.